Overpass Triumph versus TeamOne. They got their pistols ready, and TeamOne is starting on CT side with Triumph on the T side. Here we go.
Utility out for Triumph here, as they'll have a smoke and a flashbang. PRT holds on to a nade, and there's another one that gets Stella. Utility coming back from both sides here, but it's XNS. Good flash from Pace to get the opening kill onto Triumph, as Zixi is going to try an entry. It is going to be hate in the roster for Triumph. So it's not going to be Viz, HLTV
Yeah.
lied. This is the stable roster for this squad, and this is a lot better for them.
No, I'm glad, because honestly, that was a little weird. I was like, this doesn't make any sense at all, and if it does happen, it would be quite surprising. So yeah, good to see Hayden there, as they will have, as you mentioned, their usual starting five, at least over the last month and a half. That's been their starting five. And we're going to see if B. Wills, who tends to be a very standout player, a star in his own right, who has stepped up big time since Cynic was poached by the party astronauts. Here we go, though. 53 seconds on the clock.
Ooh.
And Triumph, well, yeah, they're going to eat that nade. B. Wills and George both going down to around half health. George a little higher. His Hate pops around with that PG-50, hoping to tap a few heads.
He's looking to tap, but there's nobody really giving him that option. PRT, however, taps one. Hate finally finds one. Exceed gets another. Hate has two. And it's flopped to a 3v2 in the favor of Triumph in just a matter of moments. George comes up with another, and it's down to Maluki in a 1v3. He has a bit of information. There's somebody towards pit. He's going to catch George blind. Did, but he's not going to be able to land those shots. In fact, he gets dinked away. He's going to be aggressed upon now, but not over-pushed. Wise decision by Triumph to temper that aggression and not give him a window back in a 1v2. George keeps on playing whack-a-mole with him. Up and down he'll go until that crouch just continues to slow down. And now he's going for a jump peek. Maluki, he might just save the armor here. It's full armor too, so he does not need to invest for a helmet if he wants one into the next round. He's still taking taps away, but he's going to get finished off by Hate. And Triumph started off poorly, but Hate will really bring things back for them.
Good on Triumph to get that early lead. As I said, I think this is anyone's game here on Overpass. I do give TeamOne the slight edge, but losing that pistol round, well, we'll have to wait and see. It doesn't necessarily telegraph too much just yet, as TeamOne are going to force up. They got the 3 Deagles, the 5.7, and the Scout on their side, on Triumph, excuse me. They have 2 Galils, 2 AKs, and the MAC-10. They're going to force up those rifles immediately after finding that round victory. A little dangerous, of course, since those Deagles pop some heads and then you lose the rifles and have a lighter buy in the following round. But if the risk pays off and everyone's left standing into round number 3, well, you're ripe and ready for the rifles to come out.
The rifles, always what you want to have in your hands, but we've seen some pistol magic from TeamOne in games past. The Deagles in the hands of the Mobses, the XNSs, the PRTs, always seem to find at least one head. It is the nerf Deagle though, so the body shot at range will be significantly limited. It's 4 shots instead of 3 now. And given the unruly recoil of the Deagle, it might be a little more difficult to connect that extra one. But I like how Triumph is burning down this clock. They're not going to take too long. They're not going to fall into a Godson style of 25-second takes, but they are going to see if TeamOne want to get aggressive early on. Now they'll finally start to make their way towards the ace side. Maluki has the Scout in hand. He'll go for a jump peek. Spot out nothing. And now he's stuck in a bit of limbo. Going back between lane and long. In comes the walk. He spots out now. CXCI. Hate has the first, but he's going to be traded off swiftly soon after. Maluki's still alive, but he's falling back, and he gets caught out on rotation. Bomb will go down momentarily. Back dice planted for bathrooms, where the team will posture up. 6E over towards Optimus will hold the line. PRT on a flank is being watched for, joined by Pace. But George should have these 2. He's only going to be able to get 1, though. Not expecting the second. And good damage now range for TeamOne. They could just save this here. And I think that's exactly what Pesa wants to do. No reason to lose that gun. And so we'll try and look at a 2-0 start, but TeamOne will have a free AK going into round number 3.
Yeah, that's not too shabby. And again, that's another risk getting those rifles up in round 2 against the save. You can lose one of them, and having an AK for TeamOne will certainly help them out because their economy will be broken. Maybe they can get some pistols in play, but outside of that, it's going to be the AK that will hopefully carry them forward. I think the best place to put it would be right into Canal because you can just farm away those frags shooting into Monster. But we'll have to see where they end up deciding to post it. That said, Triumph are up 2-0. Hayden George a little light in the money. We'll have to settle for the Mac 10s, but that's not too bad either because you're going up against those pistols and you can certainly get $600 per frag quite quickly. Let's jump into it though. Round number 3. As Triumph are going to send 3 players towards Monster. B-Wills flubs the flashbang. It hits the top of the doorway, so that's not going to do much. As Maluk is charging up. Oh, look at the nade stack attempted here by Triumph. It does not work out for them because there was no one hopping for that info. But still, I like the idea.
It's a good idea, and it very well would work if there is somebody. Probably something to employ when the guns are out for Team 1 as they save again here. First kill goes the way of B-Wills, though. And they're going to continue to play slow. If Team 1 want to aggress, they know that it's going to be weaker weaponry in the prior round, but the AK is still in hand, and, you know, Zeus's could be out. Perhaps an upgraded pistol, a 5.7 lurking around the corner. And Team 1 are going to gamble stack up towards B, or up towards A. There's only one player here. It's still B-Wolves lurking around, and he might get this information soon. He decides to regroup with his teammates instead and walk down towards the B site. In comes the utility. It's flooding in. They're crossing all their T's and dotting all their I's. It's definitely a good clean take from them. They're taking no chances. But the nades could come through and do some serious damage on this retake. Pesa throwing the first one down. Doesn't find anything at all. Flashbang prepped, and B-Wills now walks up. He's heard some footsteps up towards lane, but he does not want to lose that Galil. Hate's going hungry for frags, so he wants the money. He only needs one, but George is here as well. Blindsides 2, he swings around on the BRT. Another Glock is out, looking for the last one on to Pesadillo. To be the next one in line for Pesa. Doesn't expect the player up long. There's no way he does. B-Wills with the backstab. AK recovered. And Triumph. They get that 3-0 start on the T side.
Yeah, but here come the gun rounds now for the Team 1 side. And, well, George did a great job farming those frags with the SMGs. That's $1,200 you saw earned right there with the Mac 10. And that means that he'll be able to upgrade to an AK without much of a problem. And Hate the same. So it'll be 4 AKs and a Galil unless Hate wants to get a little more utility up and running and buys that Galil as well. Timeout, I think, is going to be called here.
Looks like a tech.
Yeah.
Yeah, technical pause being called now. Unsure of what the issue is at this time, but it's probably going to help Team 1 more than it's going to help Triumph. It gives Team 1 more of a chance to stabilize and figure out what they want to do. Triumph, probably still riding the high of their earlier successes, going to be wishing they can get back into this round very quickly, unless Sixy wants to call a nice little strat here for them. There is always that chance. There's something up the sleeve of Danny, and he has something that perhaps a read on Team 1 that they can get to. This is a Triumph roster, though, that did lose their last BO3 that they played against One Tap, a team that came up in our analysis of the Pain Extra Salt matchup. They lost that series 2-1, John. Maybe a pattern here about teams that One Tap are able to best.
Yeah.
Don't exactly fare the best.
I think also we can't underestimate that Team 1, sorry, not Team 1, but One Tap has actually been quite good. They're in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
For Premier. So they have performed really, really well in their first season. And defeating teams like Team 1, I mean, is part of the reason why.
Yep, and it's really been the coach, KJ, who's done so much good work for them.
Yep.
He's grown that roster so well. And no, it's a difference a good coach can make, and you can also have that calming effect in the server. Granted, it's the RMR, and no coaches are allowed here. So, instead, the IGLs will have to do the brunt of that work. So we still sit here, waiting to see what the problem is, and what is going to happen. Early days still, not really much to tell as far as Team 1's CT side is concerned, given they haven't really had the op-out in the hands of Maluki. They haven't had the rifles. And until we do get that point, it's going to be hard to predict how this game is going to go. But if Triumph can continue to hit their shots they have early on, especially with Hate popping off, it's going to be a very difficult team for Team 1 to deal with, particularly in the BO1 standpoint.
It absolutely will be. I think Triumph is, like I said, always dangerous in these types of BO1s, and they've torn maps off of top teams before. So for them, it would be no surprise if they were able to pull this one off. But we'll have to wait and see as we got a tech timeout still extending forward here. I wonder what is going on.
Mm-hmm. Maybe somebody dropped off and they're having computer issues, something along those lines. Looks like everything's been reset. So maybe things are going to start up pretty quickly here. You know, John, just looking about this series, though, out of all of the maps that could have been played, did you expect it to come down to Overpass?
I mean, not really, but I think that's the interesting thing about BO1s, right? Because you're banning pretty much everything that you'd want to, and sometimes you just overlook the maps that you
Yeah.
really don't want to get into, and that map is Overpass. It's kind of like getting the final map in a BO3, right? It's always the
Yep.
leftover map that you're going to be left with in these BO1s.
Yeah, it's like a compromise. Nobody's happy.
Right.
And I guess it is the fairest extent of a compromise in terms of a Counter-Strike veto, because each team gets 3. And you're left with one that probably neither of you is actually too happy with, but we're finally back into the action here. Full guns for TeamOne, and Maluki's going to go aggressive with the Oppen party, waiting out that flashbang, but it's a well-timed flash from Triumph. So they've adapted well to the meta of just waiting out that flashbang. Great utility damage coming back from TeamOne, however, but it's even more spam damage going back the way of Triumph. George, though, chunked down to 27 HP, PRT at 11. And Pesa is somewhere in the 70 range at 68. Exceed close up on the sandbags construction, looking to get an entry onto the site. As Triumph are full committing towards B from the early posturing, but it's going to be a fake at the very least right now. They have con control. They're going to rotate back up towards A. And TeamOne are raiding this. I believe they got the information from the jump spot that the door is open. But Exceed is still holding. And if he starts to peek out, maybe they signal the call back down towards B because there's a 3 stack over on A, and disaster is imminent if Triumph continue to hit.
Malbs waiting on the other end. George and B-Wills continue to fire on forward. They're giving away their position here. So Malbs has all the information he needs. George trying to hard clear the angle, though. Does he spot out Malbs here? I don't think he sees him just yet. Malbs now will be spotted, and he still gets the frag. He was baiting out some information, finds the follow-up too, and Malbs doing what he does best. Find those multi-kills. He will go down at the end of the day to B-Wills, but it is a 4v3 advantage. And Triumph, well, they don't want to test any further towards J's site because Exceed just found one on XNS, and I take that back. Hate went down long. Maluk wasn't looking, and he gets taken down. PRT is still up and running, though, and he manages to get a trade on back, but it's a 2v2 and pretty much anyone's game. Anyone's round, I should say, as Hate will take down Pesa. And now it's a little bit tougher for TeamOne to get back into this.
It's a 1-2 punch coming in from Triumph. Hate baiting out that time, allowing B-Wills to get that bomb down and not over-aggressing, either going down silently. Hate is having himself a moment right now against TeamOne. It starts off well for Malbs and TeamOne, but the good rotation called by Exceed, that was something I was keeping an eye on earlier on in the round, was if he can get in behind, get that information that the side is clear. They send that bomb back down. That kill from Hate onto Maluki, though, is so critical, and it throws everything into chaos for TeamOne. They have no idea where that bomb's going to go down because it has not been seen, and then Hate just mops up the rest, playing well in towards heaven. Pistols out again for TeamOne. They have a bunch of nades, and a nade stack does seem imminent over towards the B side, but Triumph, they do like to default out against the pistols when they know their opponents are on lesser weaponry. And here we see Exceed getting that isolated duel against Maluki to kick things off. Bomb's still down and a lot of time on the clock for Triumph. They can work around the map and keep on sweating out TeamOne. We're going to rotate back towards A. Oh, Exceed gets an opening kill. He gets 2 more. PRT will answer back. The A side is still relatively open. Pace of the lone defender here. Just going to have to fall away. Probably try and save. Actually, he doesn't have the gun. It's going to be PRT. Look at the rotation coming out from Triumph. They're reading this well again. And now it's time for the bomb to go down for them. The AK in the hands of PRT could actually yield some more damage, but they really need to save that gun. They need that AK into the next round, and Pesa just needs to go for some kills here. He's going to be hunted down by Exceed, who's looking for the ace now, or at the very least, yeah, what for the ace?
Yeah.
George is going to go for it, though. And now PRT has to save.
Now, PRT, they know where he is, and given what a great lead Triumph have in the economy in their back pockets, they're going to chase this. PRT's just looking back and forth. He knows what's coming. And Exceed wraps up the ace here. All 5 frags in the 5th round of play. And TeamOne, well, you have to call a timeout after that to really settle things down, because this is an awesome start on Triumph's side. And looking at the money, of course, TeamOne are going to be back on the rifles, but it's important for them to make a statement soon.
Soon, especially as Overpass still does lean towards the CT side. Sometimes it can flip 8-7, 9-6 in favor of the Ts, but it's not exactly going to be a consistent thing to have Ts winning on this map. But this has almost given me flashbacks to Extra Salt versus Pain, John, where the NA squad gets out to an early lead. It's out to a good half, but then when the sides swap, things get very difficult. However, this is on the T side of Overpasses. There's a little more behind this Triumph squad than otherwise might be expected. And TeamOne, I would say, again, like I said on a Mirage, you really need to get this round in the bag to start to kill this momentum on Triumph, or else that lead can quickly become insurmountable.
I think Exceed was an excellent pickup by Triumph. He's actually the reason why GGPR were doing so well early on in the season. And at the end, they couldn't field 5 players and the roster fell apart once he left. So that kind of sucks for GGPR, but it's Triumph's gain, of course, as he's sitting at the top of the board here with 8 frags and 8 also at 8. Not the usual suspects, because 6C and B-Wills are typically the ones who are popping up. But this time around, well, it's a welcome surprise, I'm sure, for the Triumph side. Maluk is going to wait towards long aim, misses the shots, and now XNS goes down. PRT tries for the trade, but he only gets 1, and B-Wills frags him right on back. 4v3 for Triumph. They know that TeamOne are going to rotate to the B site to try and get some reinforcements here, so maybe they take this opportunity to rotate themselves onto A. As it stands, though, they're sticking around. They got a couple of smokes, a lot of flashbangs, and in fact a 3rd smoke now in the hands of 6C. Pesa waiting over at the toxic barrels, and TeamOne in fact have rotated everyone over to B. So a push to A wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea for Triumph. They still have time, but they're going to decide, you know what, we're here, 30 seconds left, charge on forward. Pesa is going to get 1, then flick for the second. 6C finally responds, but that's the 2v2, and TeamOne could now take this one. Maluk fires a little preemptively. 6C and XC close the gap. Malp supports. 6C takes him down. 1v1 around the pillar, and Maluk will win it. His first frag on the board couldn't have come at a better time.
Not at all. What a round for TeamOne. They've read into what Triumph have been doing round after round 2, which has been waiting out and then going back to the site they initially pressured, unless they have it otherwise cleared on the other side, which Triumph did not have that poker this time, and they play right into it. TeamOne, though, it's almost one of those scenarios where you win the round, but you come out worse for wear. Look at their buy. MP9's on 3, Maluki still has the op, there's going to be an M4 for Pesa. It's still going to be rough, and Maluki gets hit with a Molotov. He's still going to get that opening kill on the B-Wills, however, and Exceed's tagged down quite low by some good utility damage. So for Triumph, they are reeling here, and TeamOne are setting themselves up nicely despite their lower weaponry. XNS has been tagged down low, though, and Malp will come up huge with the MP9. Flashbang from Pesa gets him 2! The team play coming in from TeamOne and bringing them back into this one. George, however, sneaks up onto Maluk, pops his brain, and now moves forward into the next one. Pesa rotates around, but George has the second. A side starting to look a little more open here, but look how far removed the bomb is in the hands of Hate. However, George has a lot of good fragging potential. He's someone who goes really overlooked on this Triumph side and can come up with big clutch plays many times, almost like a drop figure on Furia, just a little more consistent with the kills, I would say. And this is a very winnable 3v2 in the favor of TeamOne in terms of manpower, but Triumph, they have a good amount of utility, a decent amount of time, and a 2-1 split onto the A site.
Oops. Oh my, eats a nade and gets a bullet to the face. Hate. More space opened up now on the A site, and TeamOne are separated. The last 2 players, PRT and XNS, in very different positions. PRT is going to try and come in from the flank. XNS looking to sneak through the smoke. He can do some damage. PRT taps away. XNS does get one on hit, but there's only George standing. Has to isolate 2 1v1s, and he can't! XNS from Bank will get the job done, and the rare knife draw animation to boot. As TeamOne are going to pick up a second here, Austin.
It's a critical second, but they also still lose a lot of players. I don't know what Triumph do considering their money, though. They're within that buy range, particularly an op could get the hands of 60 and try and counter Maluki. This double kill from Malbs really sets it up, though, nicely. The great flashbang comes up from Pesa. But Triumph, they can force up, they can half buy, they could even hero AK on B-Wheels, which might be a good idea. They're going to drop the op to 60, though. They are going to go for the full investment, leave George on a Mac 10, perhaps use him as the spearhead to go open up that space, because they do know that TeamOne's economy is low. One player surviving the first round they won, 2 in the last one. Their money incredibly low. Their utility is still there. They still have the op too. But TeamOne are still on the edge of a knife here. They lose this round, they slip off, and XNS, he's been caught out early by B-Wills. And now B-Wills is starting to heat up too. Triumph players are coming online here. Maluki out towards long. He's not cleared by Exceed. He should have a free kill, and there you go. Even 4v4, but they do know there's a lot of information out towards long, and Triumph are going to take that as well. You think there's a lurk out long, doesn't know there's anybody else. Let's go long now for the back of that kill.
Maluk heading over in the short bathrooms here. Here comes the utility from the Triumph side to isolate this position. So Maluk no longer has visibility, has to fall back into the short bathrooms, and maybe have a peek at short A. At the same time, though, George and 60 are going for a run boost down long. They don't see anything, but I love the idea regardless as they gain that space.
Yeah, this is one thing that Triumph is going for, and that's creativity. They're also going to leave Hate as a lurker out towards B to keep those rotations here. Triumph haven't exactly shown too much of this split potential. They usually go as a block. Only one round they did go as a split, and that's when, I believe it was round number 2 or 3, where Hate just had the pincer in towards Heaven. It's going to be hard-pressed to hold this side back, though. The utility from Triumph's about to rain in. The rotations are going to come up from TeamOne, but Hate has connector on lock. In comes Malbs, but he's going to get that first onto George. No counter just yet from Triumph. Time whittles down to 10 seconds. Excuse me, Hate has Malbs, and Maluki's been tagged by 60. Bomb can go down now, and the time now swaps into Triumph's favor. Health not favoring Maluki. Either a stray nade could do him in, but there's nothing of that sort on the Triumph bodies. They're going to have to fall away now, all towards lane, grouped up. It's still going to be hard to kill all 3 players from the same position for TeamOne. The time is swiftly becoming a factor.
60 going to spray down Maluki. And he tries for another one, can't find it. They're going to try and stick this defusal. PRT's down. Hate going to get the second one, and he finds himself a 3K on the round. Triumph strike back after losing 2 in a row to win that one. And the great news for Triumph is that they continue to get the bomb plants round after round after round, which has built up their economy and ensures that even though if they lose the bodies, they can still get the rifles back up and running. Sure, Exceed has to settle for a Mac 10, but they have 3 AKs, an op, and full utility versus TeamOne, who only have pistols here because it's been very tough for them to even get those 2 that they got on the board. 3 deagles, 2 5.7s, 3 nades, and a flashbang. Not too bad in terms of what pistols they have up and running, but this won't be easy to deal with. It's a full-on push coming from Triumph towards B. No hesitation. XNS gets one, but there is Exceed with a quick 2-tap 2K from the headshots of the Mac 10. Maluk also spotted out. Molotov burning next to him. Nade flies in. He's done and dusted by the molly, and it's all over. Triumph just blitzing onto B and taking care of everyone.
Triumph, they're mixing up the pace, they're mixing up the sights, they are mixing up how they hit these sights as well. It's great calling from Zixi, and that's one thing that I've been skeptical of for this Triumph roster since he took over was the strategy calling. But this is a fantastic look from him.
Yeah.
He's reading this game incredibly well. He's playing with TeamOne and forcing them into positions that they don't want to be in. The pace changes have been there. The reads on the site takes have been there aside from one, I would have to say. And overall, Triumph are having themselves a field day, fueled well by Hate as well. He's going to get one more as I speak of his name. He's going to get traded out by Maluki, but trades still favor the T's. And Triumph now know where the op is positioned, and they want to push the op. Is there a read they have? They want to punish wherever Maluki's playing?
I think they're going to go here and hope that someone pushes. Yep. They were hoping for exactly that. Maluke peeks around the corner, and Sixy immediately spots him out for the frag. Now, one thing that's really interesting that's going on right now is George is pushing up long A, so he could really cause a lot of headaches for the TeamOne side should he gain the space. And I do believe Triumph were just trying to bait out a rotation there, which they were absolutely successful in doing. They only have one player. I say only, it's Malps. He's very, very strong, but he is by his lonesome on the A site. So if they play their cards right, ensure that a trade's in play here, should be able to take this site without much of a fuss. As Malps peeks around the corner with the M4, and he will go down. That's it. A site taken. Bomb gonna be planted.
That was the opportunity, too. A lone player aggressing solo up long. That could have been disastrous for Triumph. But George wins that aim duel against Malbs. The AK headshot comes through. And now TeamOne are going to save. They don't have a lot of time here. It's going to turn from 20 into 40 relatively quickly. But overall, they cannot afford to lose the op. They cannot afford to lose the M4 for PRT. Don't know if Triumph are going to hunt too much. Maybe Exceed will be sent forth to try and find someone, but as it stands, Triumph at a win at the half at the very least of an 8-7 scoreline, and 8 rounds on your T side is definitely a great sign. And then when it comes to the CT side, I don't think they'll slow down all too much.
No.
When Triumph is playing like this, they are very hard to stop, and they are a team that can challenge some of the best, especially in a BO1 format.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I'm really impressed with this T side as well. 8 rounds on the board, as you mentioned. CT side tends to be favorable, of course, on Overpass. If you just look at the map itself, it's so easy to rotate back and forth from each site. So you have probably 3 to 4 second rotations where you can get back to A if you're on B and vice versa. So TeamOne have a lot to work on here if they're going to hope to get those 7 rounds and make it as close as possible. But they will have a proper buy-up here. They're spreading the economy around. It's going to be a FAMAS, 2 A1Ss, the A4, and the AWP as Triumph continue to run forward and build up their economy here. Oh, nice Molotov kill. Aggressive push here by TeamOne, but the smoke is going to defuse it. Malbs decides not to go up to Fountain. Now he is going to. To gain that space, tosses the nade on forward, hopes that it does damage, and it does. I mean, George taking down to 60 HP. The thing is, he doesn't really follow that up with much information towards the fountain itself, and ends up falling back towards short A.
Still a 5v5, and no real advantages for either team, aside from connector control for Triumph, which on Overpass is a very critical part of the map because of the rotations, which we've seen Triumph take full control and full advantage of so far this matchup. Hate's going to catch off Pesa, though, and he's going to work in towards B. It's all an elaborate ruse, however, John, as Triumph have no business going to that site. It's going to come down to Mobs over on long, and he gets antsy. His spider sense is tingling. He's going to fall away just behind the flower pot, try and play an off angle. He does have Maluki with him, but Maluk's swapping between 2 angles, between lane, bathrooms, and now towards long. Too much to watch for one man, perhaps, but a lot rests on the shoulders of young Malbs. They're going to walk in, try. Do they clear him hard? They're going to double swing, maybe triple swing. George, another entry. Maluki walks in, and Sixy's waiting for it. Triumph are playing this map to a T, and look what PRT and XNS are doing, John. They're running for the hills. They're running for their lives. They are out of it, and Triumph are going to confirm their 9th round victory. Once that bomb goes down, no contestation from TeamOne. They need to save again. And it's starting to look like an Inferno matchup now as the CTs continually save after the site's been taken.
Wow, just such a good job from Triumph taking these sites time and time again. Unreal, the shots that George is hitting now. He's really been helping in that department, and Sixy as well. Alrighty, Triumph. As mentioned, pick up a 9th, and PRT and XNS, given the state of their economy, they just want to save these rifles. I believe they're at the full loss bonus of 3,400 at this point, which will help them out. Probably can get an A1S in Malbs' hands, and PRT and XNS might be able to buy for themselves once more. So it should still be a rifle buy-up coming through for TeamOne, and I'd be surprised if they go for a save here, because being down 7 rounds, you really need to try and get those additional CT side rounds on the board.
They're going to have to buy up.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to pull off something here. They have really shown no real signs of life on the CT side. the only rounds they've won have really been mistakes from Triumph, walking into the stacks. That's not sustainable for your CT side, and this is more what you need to see out of a team that looks down and out. You need to see some aggression, to see some risks being taken. TeamOne, what do they have to lose at this point? Already conceded 9 to a T side. Exceed walking in will probably not expect mobs over on the trash can. It's a very rare spot to play, but the B side's wide open, and look where Triumph are posturing. They are looking for it, and once they find out that Exceed's fallen, they probably will just bust in towards the B side. B-Will's out towards Con 2 is looking for an opening kill, but TeamOne are still so heavily positioned towards A that this B take can completely obliterate them once again. I think they would have to go for the retake at this point, even if they do go down to a 4v5, and XNS doesn't get anything off of this, but now a little bit more over towards A as George helps out secure that fake, and Triumph, they're going to hit this B side around 50 seconds on the clock. Smoke will cue them into at least one here, and now TeamOne are getting antsy. Exceed is ready for this. He's going to start getting antsy himself. They've fallen off.
Oh, the
Maluki misses the timing. Mobs goes down. And does Exceed expect the second? No, he does not just yet. And he's going to get caught in the back by Maluki. Finally falls. Then comes his B hit. XNS has one. Just printed out swiftly by Hate. Bomb will go down momentarily, but Pace actually has other ideas. He's got two. He swung it back to the favor of TeamOne, but Sixy swaps over to the AK, and Sixy has the rifle. I would say his best gun in hand, but PRT on the sandbags angle will shut it down, and Triumph, they concede this round. TeamOne off of the back of Pesadillo are going to get themselves a third.
Whew, that one got very interesting, but good hold by Pesadillo in particular, who gets the 2K and picks up the op, which he will likely drop for Maluke, and Maluke will be happy to receive that back into his hands. But TeamOne, good news for them, is they get a third round on the board. Will it be isolated again by Triumph? Well, they certainly have the hardware to do it. They built up their economy, full buy-up coming through once more with 4 AKs and the op. Here we go, though. Round number 13 underway. Triumph, they tended to have success towards that B site. That was the first time I think that they were thwarted by TeamOne. And you're going to see that Triumph are looking to gain that early space towards Fountain this time. They were very patient in the previous round. Maybe this time they're going to show face a little sooner. They do. Maluk wins that battle, but it's Exceed on the other side to drop balls. So the player who's typically top ranked for TeamOne is out of the picture. PRT manages to get the trade on back and Exceed. Now he finds Hate as well. Could get B-Wills, and no. PRT will go down. No 3-man advantage for TeamOne. Instead, just a man advantage, and B-Wills going to use the space that he's gained for himself to throw that smoke, open up the squeaky door, and maybe he's trying to fake over a rotation from the TeamOne side and open up the space for his teammate and his Sixy to move in.
Very passive B-hold from TeamOne. Granted, their retake of the B site was absolutely flawless last round. They're giving it a very similar setup now, giving so much space over to the side of Triumph. B-Wills and Sixy going to shuffle the guns around. Bogdan's Law coming through, and B-Wills will try his luck with the big green gun. Sixy on the rifle. There's so much utility too, John, to hold this down. But this boost, this could end the dreams of Triumph right now if they're not ready for it. XNS has the angle. No utilities come through. They're going to dry peek it. Now they swing, and there goes the first. That's B-Wills to fall. Nade follows through as well. Sixy tosses a Molotov out, but he's got to close the gap. Time is low. Headshot onto the first. Does he expect to clear up bridge? No, he does not. XNS home and collected. Creeps his way forward and finishes the job. This play from PRT, though, absolutely huge. The second kill on to Hate basically secures the opportunity for TeamOne. Without that, things get so much more difficult. Triumph on a bit of a slide right now, but I don't think they really care too much, John. They already got their 9 rounds on the team side of things. Everything else is icing on the cake.
Double digits would be obviously the best case scenario for them, both heading into their second half and psychologically against TeamOne. But Exceed's going to walk out here, throw the smoke right into the Molotov, and they are probably expecting someone to be around the corner at Fountain. You see a boost is going to come through here. That's just to have a look over at Long A, in fact. Malps looking into connector. Here's a Molotov blooming out there. So now they've definitely given up connector. They can't regain that space. And that's good for Triumph to get the map control. XNS, though, spots Hate getting a little too antsy towards B, and then he gets the second on Sixy. Triumph have been unable to win these aim duels in the early goings, and that's been the difference maker for TeamOne and why they're potentially on to a third round victory, in a row.
TeamOne looked to have awoken from their stupor, John. This is not the
Hmm.
TeamOne we saw for the first few rounds. This is the TeamOne that we came into this matchup expecting. This is the TeamOne that can completely dominate anybody and takes close maps over in EU, makes it to Pro League 2 seasons in a row. This is the TeamOne that they should be, realistically speaking.
Mhm.
And if they can continue this form moving on to the T side of things, they very well can bring this back, especially if they get this to a 9-6. So Triumph would love that double-digit scoreline. It's looking more and more unlikely, especially considering the economic situation on the T side. A bomb plant here would get them a bye, but without it, they will probably be pretty darn broke here. George and Exceed trying to thin the economy of the CT side. George doesn't clear the angle hard enough, though. Now it's all down to Exceed in a 1v4. Not exactly an easy situation for him, and he won't even manage one. Malms gets both of the last two. And now only round remaining, and TeamOne primed for a 6th.
Yeah, you talked about some of the success they had over in Europe, in Pro League, in fact, in the 10 maps they played. 4 of them ended up being very close. One against NIP going to overtime on Inferno, 15-19. Against Furia, both maps going the distance, 14-16 loss on Mirage, and 19-22 loss on Inferno. Then against Gambit, making it close on Mirage. Again, 14-16. So they were very competitive. Obviously doesn't show by their map scoreline in Pro League, of course. But back from this deficit. They're making a good run for it, of course, as PRT gets the opener again. Every time you find that opening fight, give your team probably a 65 to 70% chance of coming out with the win. And Malbs and Connector drops Exceed. Triumph just unable to do much of anything over the last 4. Maybe they can find Malbs here? Yes, finally 60 gets one, but at what cost? Pesadello with the wall spam will take down 60. It's only Hate and George, and Hate is a sliver away from death.
And he's the one with the rifle. It's not George who has full health, it's Hate. And he's going to walk right into XNS2 if he makes a cross here. It's going to be a free kill there for the Brazilian player. No. Hate goes back the way of Sewer Pipe. He's going to go back towards A from the looks of things here, as George is going to try and close the gap against Maluki. But a dry swing against the op, despite the speed of the MAC-10, is not going to bode well for him. And perhaps he'll just wait up and get the Galil tossed over into his hands. Then comes a deep smoke. Molotov goes through as well. Counters coming through. But it's going to be a fake towards A and a hit towards B. Oh, XNS, he could get caught in rotation. He's not going to do the right angle, though. XNS gets a double spray down. Has them all on a silver platter. And TeamOne battle back 5 straight rounds to close off this half and take us into half number 2. Half number 2, by the way, folks, is going to be here in just a moment.
But you
It started off as a 9 dominable half from Triumph, getting up to a 9-1 scoreline, but TeamOne battled back with 5 straight rounds to bring it within 3. I'm Boggs, joined by JRT. Half number 2 of this BO1 here of IEM Fall North America Day 1 is about to begin, and TeamOne are trying to continue their storm of rounds, trying to tie things up as soon as possible against Triumph.
B-Wills gets first contact here. Fires off a few shots and gets some in return. He's the one to do damage, though. His pace is down to 75 HP. He will fall back here, but here comes the execute for TeamOne. They're going to throw those smokes on to B. One for Heaven and one for Sandbags. B-Wills flashed out as well. This is quite well done here by TeamOne. They will be able to get the bomb plant, and Triumph are on for a full-on retake here. With 60 trying to charge up on the flank, he gets spotted out quite quickly. Hate gets the opening frag on Mobs. 5v4, 60 moving in, looking to find another one, but it's XNS again to come back for a 2K. Is George going to be able to do more than one? No. Maluk finds him. Maluk still at Sandbag. 60 staring down in that direction, cannot do anything. It's all up to Exceed. He hits one on XNS, 1v1. Maluke waiting at Sandbags, and Exceed's going to stick this one. Maluke! Oh, he wasn't even coming. And Exceed doesn't have the kit. Now he doesn't have any time, so TeamOne's going to win this one way or another, and they do get it.
If we would have taken the extra time to go and get that kit, he would have had a ninja.
Yep.
That's unfortunate for Exceed. That little last-second decisions coming back to cost you. But then again, TeamOne already got the bomb down at that point. It is almost better to just concede the pistol round. But they are going to force up regardless here. Deagle's on 4, Scout for 60. Decent amount of utility, too. TeamOne seem to be ready for this, though. Only 2 MAC-10s. They'll keep AKs on 2 players as well. Pesa and Luki with a Galil for Malbs. And they're going to go towards B fast again. Nate does a lot of damage onto Malbs and XNS, though, entering out onto the site. And Malbs gets finished off for free. Flash is coming through now as well, blinding all players involved. And there's a player in towards Toxic. That's going to be George. It's going to be hard to clear out. And he's going to get himself another kill. In comes a nade, but it's not going to go too far. Does a tad bit of damage, but still the duels are favoring Triumph right now, and a reset needs to happen for TeamOne. They are bailing out here, trying to have a tactical retreat and go all the way back towards A. Triumph have stonewalled them on the initial. There's guns available for Triumph too. A Galil is down. Actually, no, it's just MAC-10s that Galil has been salvaged by PRT. Still, it's a little something extra to work with an automatic weapon.
Everyone on TeamOne grouped up together, going towards long A, and you hear George just spamming that MAC-10, free firing, expecting TeamOne to come around that corner. Now Triumph, well, they do have a couple of players waiting here on this A site. It is TeamOne's round to lose, technically, since they just won that pistol and had the rifles up and running. Triumph are doing a pretty good job with the pistols on their side, and of course, the MAC-10s were picked up to help them perhaps make this round. PRT is going to get 1 on 60. It's at least one player taken down, but Exceed comes in on the flank to drop Maluke. It's down to only PRT and Pesa. They're lit. PRT is down. Pesa spams for 2. George and B-Wills at least down for the count, but Pesa still has to win 2 1v1 duels. Pesa staring down at the dumpster. Hate peeking around in the timing in Hate's favor. Triumph steal away around on their force buy and get a 10th.
That's a massive win for Triumph. No bomb plant either for TeamOne. They're all on double eco scenarios. They are going to full reinvest. The pistols prove better. And it's Hate again showing up big. 20 kills to his name, by the way, already. So he's definitely a very valued member of this Triumph squad since they picked him up. Him and Exceed have been... I guess they also added George recently to the roster too, as far as the beginning of the season's concerned. It's
been a
pretty fresh.
A lot of switch ups have been done as of late. That's why you can't really look at their stats beyond the last one.
That's very true. But this hit towards B, it's going to be B-Wills locking it down, swaps to the sidearm, not going to get the last one, finally does. And Hate's there to back him up too. And 11 rounds now on the board for Triumph. The CT side, the favored side of Overpass, and Triumph are making it look every bit as favored as they can. TeamOne, they're going to be on the full save now, and this is the opportunity for Triumph to get up to 12, minimize their casualties, and grow that early CT bank. They aren't going to have an op into the next round, but They'll probably have some aggression to make up for the lack of the sniper rifle and the information gained. This round, though, I'm just going to try and make sure they don't lose anybody, get some easy kills, perhaps get some nade kills too. Nade goes in towards Khan, not going to find too much. Exceed wisely falls away. Lots of spam coming in from his B teammates. It's going to be hate spamming through the wood wall. Then comes the stomping of feet from TeamOne all the way up towards the A site. 60 faces first, has one, tries for a second, not going to get it. He's going to need to anyways to help him out now. Hate swings for another, and a flank actually does catch off Exceed. It's going to be Maluki who gets the only kill for TeamOne. Actually, two? He's got a second on a Zixi. Okay, maybe a third here. No, it's denied. But still, 2 kills is more damage, I think, than TeamOne would have expected and more than Triumph would have liked to take.
Not often you're going to see 2 frags come through from the Glock at that range. A third one would have been absolutely ludicrous. And, well, good news for Triumph, they don't lose any more bodies, so they'll be able to reinvest into this round without much of a problem. But they do have to reinvest, which will bring Exceed down to 100 and 60 down to 1,000. Luckily for them, Hate is on 5.8k, so that should balance out if they need a full-on buy-up in the following round. X and S has the AK now, so do the rest of his teammates. And they're going to quickly try to gain this space towards the B site. XNS moving in towards water with mobs, and the other 3 might be joining them. In fact, it could be a full-on take from Sandbags by TeamOne. They're charging up. Mob, first contact, finds it, and the trade doesn't come through after he falls, though. George and B-Wills get a couple. 4v3 in favor of Triumph.
The nade stack, too, that TeamOne had primed came up to absolute 0 damage. That was a good idea, but nobody's playing on the boost. It is Dello, though, jumps up on top of Toxic, traded out by B-Wills, and now Maluki in a 1v3. The bomb is down in the middle of sight, and he's being hemmed in from all sides. One on Toxic, one from Heaven's side. Does at the very least finish off B-Wills, and now knows there's one player in through Heaven, but does he expect Exceed coming in from Monster? Has no idea, John, and now he flips back. He has an idea somebody could be on the flank now, but I don't think there's too much of a chance here for Maluki. He spies nothing. That, but not the right angle. Exceed does not go for the knife. He takes the secure kill. Even though his team's economy is not exactly the best. And Triumph now 3 rounds away from putting TeamOne down in this round-robin group stage of the last RMR of the year. Triumph, this is a good performance to maybe put them on your radar, as this Group B is wide open.
Yeah, they still need those last 3 rounds to secure it, and as we saw with the extra salt match, Austin, nothing is a guarantee. Exceed going to toss an aggressive molly towards Fountain. It's not a bad idea because TeamOne on the pistols might be going for some aggression in this direction. Now they fall off of it and end up in the north connector. I think there's someone to answer here. Was 60, but he sees all those bodies and says, you know what, I am going to get the heck out of here. I have off. I can't deal with this at this range. So he falls back, hits the shot almost on the move on Pesa, flicks around for a second. Could he find the third here? He does! 60's on fire in the anti-eco. Maluke, the last one standing with the Tech 9 in his hands, and doesn't have the bomb, doesn't have much of a chance. 60 misses a shot, so at least the op goes down, but it'll be recovered by one of these remaining Triumph players, and there it is. B-Wills grabs it after finding the final frag. So Triumph on to 14 and 60, making it look way too easy.
That's an unnecessary 4th peak there from 60, but I guess he's feeling it there. Those 3 kills, all very active on the op. Timeout called by TeamOne, though, as this is basically their last-ditch buy. They lose this one, it's going to be a force, maybe a buy that can get the bomb down. If not, it's going to be a pretty broken buy for them going up against that match point from Triumph. And the BO1s really starting to rear their heads early on here, but Triumph definitely a lot stronger of a start than Extra Salt had in terms of actually closing things down. The money's also decent on Triumph, but for Hate, or rather 60 and B-Wills, it's not the best. That op going down seeming to harm their economy considerably, as I believe he had to drop an M4 over to one of his teammates. Still, though, 60's having the better of the op duels right now, and the rifle duels seem to be all go the way of Triumph. Only George is negative. That's because he's been entering out a lot on the T side, too. He hasn't really had to do all too much on CT. So Triumph, they are dominating in almost every facet of the game.
Pesa tossing a flashbang into Monster. I would have to say this is almost a must-win round for TeamOne, because if Triumph gets onto 15 with 8 opportunities on their CT side of Overpass, I have to say that this one will likely end in their favor. 60 boosted up, staring down. into water and decides to fall off the boost. Didn't really catch off anything and doesn't want to overexpose himself in what is considered a common boost angle. Exceed, in the meantime, is waiting excuse me, waiting over at long. George in the water, and Triumph just setting up on their defense. They don't want to move a muscle. They don't want to give TeamOne any type of opening.
Triumph's specialty right now is not giving anything for free to TeamOne. When they have, TeamOne have capitalized on it. Triumph have done a very good job of minimizing their overall mistakes. Nice, well-timed Molotov, but Exceed's found out towards long. That's the opening that TeamOne needed. Good Molotov from Hate to buy a little more time as the time ticks down very low. I'm getting Godsend flashbacks here, and we all know how well some of those rounds have gone for them. The bomb drops into the open, making things so much more difficult, but Sixy has 2 from Optimus. He's trying to make them roll away, but he does finally get taken out. B-Wills comes in now, spams away, finishes off the next. He's got 2 off of that spray down, and it's all down to Pesa. The time is so low, the Molotov might just spread to the bomb. The Molotov will not force B-Wills out of position. He's still buying all the time he has, and Pesa has no chance now. It's going to be a round of victory for Triumph. George will not face. He'll come in now and try and finish the player off before time, but he does not get that opportunity. Does not matter, though. Match point for Triumph. And they battle back well. 60 with 2 and B-Wills with 2 from the truck. The individuals of Triumph are on point. The broken buy comes in from TeamOne. Galil's on 3. The saved AK is the saving grace. And Maluki's limited to a MAC-10.
Oh my. TeamOne. Their backs against the wall. Against a Triumph roster that really appears to have come ready to play here on Overpass. Exceed pushes aggressively down long. Doesn't see anyone there. That could call for a complete rotation by Triumph towards the B site, as Exceed's going to gain more and more information with every step that he takes. Here comes TeamOne, though, charging on up. George is waiting. The smoke is thrown, but it doesn't matter. He saw the player before it bloomed. PRT does get the trade, but he takes so much damage in that engagement that he becomes vulnerable at sandbags. Waits for his teammates to push up, but they come out and actually find a couple of frags. B-Wills gets one, but look at the HP here for TeamOne. They lose another player as well. Malbs and PRT only 88 HP combined. As this bomb goes down, they're not even looking towards Canal. Malbs gets taken down. PRT, the last one standing, now isolated by a smoke. The nade almost finishes him off, and now a Molotov at his feet, forcing him to push into the smoke. He gives his position away as well, and will go down. That's it. Triumph wins 16-7.
Triumph had a very strong